Hi, I'm Russ Weninger. I'm a lawyer with Weninger John. Geographical considerations often come up when a person's doing a will. So here are some ways in which the issue of whether a person or asset is near or far may come into play when preparing a will, an enduring power of attorney, or a personal directive. For guardians, the closer, both geographically and emotionally, the potential guardian is to your minor children, the better. Ideally, the guardian should be in the same city as your children. If that isn't possible, having the guardian in the same province is certainly desirable. If that still isn't possible, having the guardian in Canada is preferable. For executors, being in the same province is considered near. If an executor lives outside of the province, it's considered far. An executor outside of the province may have to provide a bond as security in order to accept the will. Also, if an executor lives in another country, such as the U.S., there may be certain tax reporting requirements to the other country's tax authority, such as the Internal Revenue Service in the United States. And that may lead to extra complexity, cost, and paperwork. Regarding assets, if you live in Alberta but own assets outside of the province, then for the purposes of the will, those assets are far away. Anything owned outside of your province of residence should be considered far away for our purposes. And that's not to say that you can't deal with those assets in your will, but your estate may have to be separately administered in more than one jurisdiction. Depending on where you have the property, that jurisdiction may not recognize an Alberta will. So if you have property in China, for example, you may wish to have a separate Chinese will for your Chinese property. Enduring powers of attorney appoint financial representatives, and they're called attorneys, but in this case it doesn't necessarily mean lawyers, it just means representatives. And these are people who can act for you if you become mentally incompetent. Having the attorney as close as possible is typically desirable. If the attorney lives in the same province, then great. If the attorney lives in the same city, that's even better. The attorney in an enduring power of attorney is tasked with making sure that bills are paid and that property, whether it's being sold or maintained, is dealt with appropriately. These days, many things can be dealt with online. However, it's definitely easier to deal with certain issues at a bank if you can just drive down to the branch. And it's easier to sell a house if you can meet face-to-face with the realtor. A personal directive is a document that typically does two things. Number one, it specifies who you want to make medical and personal decisions for you if you become mentally incompetent. And two, it specifies what type of medical treatment you might want under certain circumstances. Not all of the personal representatives necessarily have to be local. Most hospitals have teleconferencing capabilities, and they also have access to medical interpreters in case a personal representative isn't fluent in English. That being said, it's definitely not a bad idea to have a personal representative who can actually check up on you at a hospital or nursing home and who can have a face-to-face conversation with the doctor. For that reason, having at least one personal representative in the same city, or at least in the same province, is a good idea. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section. Thank you for watching.